Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the DCL Show, your source for Disney Cruise news and reviews. Coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined in the studio this week by my good friends, Mr. John Sicari.
Hi, everyone.
Our producer, Mr. Craig Williams.
Ahoy, hoy.
And joining us via Skype from DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com, Ms. Elaine Edwards.
Hi, friends.
And while we're discussing Dreams Unlimited Travel, they are the sponsor of this show. I'm one of the owners of Dreams Unlimited, just to be fully transparent. So if you like our content, if you want to show your support for us, the best way to do that is to book your next Disney Cruise Line vacation with Dreams Unlimited Travel. You're going to get services of a professional agent who's going to be able to guide you through the process. You're going to pay the same price you would pay Disney anyway. And on top of that, get a shipboard credit from us up to $1,000. So you're just leaving money on the table.
And not stay on hold. I see so many frustrated people talking about how many times they were on hold with Disney Cruise.
Yeah. No, let Elaine stay on hold. Elaine loves being on hold.
She thrives.
She thrives on it. Because the more she's on hold, the more money she's making because she's got clients. See? See how that works? So you can do Elaine a favor. Put Elaine on hold.
That's great.
No, but those hold times at DCL are crazy.
Yeah, well, I don't think people understand that an agent can... Elaine, am I right? You can do like 3 or 4 things for different clients on the same call?
So what I like to do is I stack up a whole bunch of things and I call in and then I do a whole bunch of things all at the same time. I usually still call DCL probably at least 3 or 4 times a day, if not more. But I do a whole bunch of stuff all at the same time. So I might be on the phone with them for 3 hours, plugging through my list of all the things that has to be done. But you wouldn't believe some of the things I've done while sitting on hold, just waiting for them to pick up.
Oh,
she colored her hair. She colored her hair. Because that's what I do on hold.
But how could you not use an agent? I mean, it's crazy.
Elaine, what would you say your average hold time is with DCL?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I know that right now. So here's the thing, to be completely transparent, because of our high ranking within the Disney company as a travel agency, we actually have a special get in. So we actually get in pretty fast. But there are times that we do have to sit on hold. My record is 11 and a half hours.
11 and a half hours on hold.
I actually screenshotted my phone so that I could remember that was my record. So yeah.
Wow.
That was the day that they announced that Disney World was reopening. So
11 and a half hours on hold. So unless you want to spend 11 and a half hours on hold, make Elaine do it. That'll be our new tagline. Make Elaine do it.
Make Elaine hold.
That'll be our new tagline. All right. So this week we are talking more about the Disney Wish, and we are going to discuss some of the entertainment options and our thoughts on it. And Craig has a whole list of things.
Yes, I do. So we're going to go over all of the entertainment, different activities you can participate in, and then, catch up on some of the bars too. Obviously, we've already talked a lot about the Bayou and Hyperspace Lounge, but there is more too, just to make sure you know everything about all parts of the ship, so that way you're prepared for it.
I should mention, since I forgot to mention it when we were talking about Hyperspace Lounge and the last show, that if you haven't seen it, check out the video where I bought the $5,000 Kyber Crystal drink. And you know what? Let's talk about that for a second, because okay. I have not had a chance. I didn't have a chance on that video to really give my thoughts on that. Now, I don't drink, right? I'm a recovering alcoholic. So I did not partake in this. I did it for content. I did it solely for content. And you look at the number of views on that video, and I got my money's worth. Just from the number of subscribers to the channel that we got, which reminds me, if you're not subscribed, please do me a favor right now. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up like button and hit the subscribe button for me. And the little bell, get a notification every time we put a new video up.
DCL fan, if you're on Patreon and didn't see where it is.
It's youtube.com/GCL fan. So this is in Hyperspace Lounge, which is the Star Wars themed lounge. We mentioned in the last show that it was quite small for the space, and that was a big mistake on their part because everybody wants to get in there. Everybody wants to get in there, and it was constantly packed, and you had to get a reservation to get in. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. But they have this $5,000 drink called the Kyber Crystal, which you can go watch the video and see what it entails. I'm not going to go into all the details. But what we were promised, in addition to this drink, was that our stateroom was going to be themed with Star Wars stuff, that we would have experiences throughout the cruise, and that we would be escorted off the ship by stormtroopers. And I'm like, okay, I'm not drinking any of this stuff, but that sounds... Oh, and then, of course, there's the invitation for myself and 3 other people to go to the Skywalker Ranch out in California. Right? Okay. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but chance to go to Skywalker Ranch? Okay.
Wah,
Wah, wah. Okay. The theming in our stateroom for the Kyber Crystal experience was to have a bunch of Star Wars crap that I could buy in any Disney store thrown on my bed. There was a throw pillow,
Tervis tumblers,
some Tervis tumblers, a blanket,
and a backpack.
This was the theming that happened in my stateroom. What the experiences were going to be throughout the voyage, I have no idea because none happened. They did deliver the certificate for the Skywalker Ranch. I was disappointed to find out it's a tour of the winery. They're not taking me into the THX building. That's what I thought it was going to be. It's not. It's a winery tour, which you can book yourself separately if you want to. I've come to find out. So there's nothing particularly special about that. And no stormtroopers appeared. We were called the morning, was it the night before or the morning of?
The night before.
The night before we were called to find out, by concierge, to find out what time we would be getting off the ship.
By Hyperspace Rebels would escort you off the ship.
Hyperspace Rebels.
Which we were told originally from Josh DeMaro himself that it was stormtroopers.
Right.
So that was in our head. What wound up happening was really embarrassing.
It was one of the servers from the Hyperspace Lounge.
Confused. Because I have my camera out ready to record the surprise, and she's looking at me like, I don't know what you're expecting, but she didn't tell me there was no surprise coming.
Yeah, no,
But wait, then it's really weird because when she brought us to the exit, the guy that she was talking to said, now is a good time to do it because the gangway is empty. And then we just left the ship. Like it never happened. But I'm thinking we missed something.
Yeah, it was a complete dud. Now, if I was still drinking, I would have enjoyed the experience of the drink itself. Whether or not I think that was worth $5,000, I don't know.
That's another thing they didn't do, though. Remember, we asked them, because it was hard to hear the gentleman. Even on the video, he has a mask on. It's very loud in there. What was in the drinks, and they said, we're going to send you to your room a complete detailed list of exactly what you had. They never did.
They never did. So...
Was there something that said, like, when you order this drink, like a written piece of paper, like, or
No.
on the menu? Like, how did you know that stormtroopers were supposed to
Stormtroopers, they said Josh tomorrow. On the preview cruise, on the christening cruise, I'd run into Josh tomorrow, who's the chairman of Disney Parks and Resorts. So he's like the ultimate boss over cruise line. And I've known Josh for years, and we were chatting, and I wanted to do this then, but he wouldn't let them do it because he said it's not ready yet. I don't know what that meant, but it wasn't ready yet. So he wouldn't let them sell it. So I was hoping I could get it on the maiden voyage. And he was the one who told me stormtroopers are going to escort you off the ship. So I have the head of Disney Parks and Resorts telling me that's what the experience is. I'm thinking he knows what he's talking about. That didn't happen.
It's disappointing.
That is on the list of things that did not happen. So overall, that experience was disappointing. I don't regret doing it because I'm in the business of content. That's my job, is to create content. And it was great content. There's no question about it. It was great content.
And the view number on that video.
The view, getting some nice views for this channel. Getting some absolutely nice views for this channel. And like I said, it's added a lot of subscribers to the channel. So, yay. That's what I was going for. But would I do it again? No. No. Under no circumstances would I do it again. That felt like a money grab. That felt like a money grab. And, you know, the Hyperspace Lounge itself is cute.
Craig will agree. They were not the best.
Manage your expectations.
They weren't the best drinks, right?
If I can review the drinks because those were paid for, I mean, then that's a peak call. I'll
Go
let him
ahead.
say. The drinks were not great. They were mixed drinks versus how like at Galaxy's Edge and Oga's Cantina, those are all pre-mixed drinks. So I did enjoy that they were actually mixed drinks, but they just weren't great drinks. And in terms of the bar itself, it is a Star Wars version of Skyline Bar on the other ships with the rotating background. To me, it is one of those bars. I think you need to see it once, and then you'll get an idea. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. And people need to see it on the first time, though, because it is very different from things that Disney has done before on their other ships in terms of a themed Star Wars space like this outside of the kids clubs.
Right.
But with the other bars too, I guess we should just go over those since we're on the topic of bars. Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge is in Deck 3 in the high-end shopping experience. The Bayou is right across from the entrance in the middle of that shopping area.
Which I enjoyed the Bayou.
And I know that does tie into entertainment too, because this is one of the places where there's actual live entertainment that happens. I know Panda watched a little bit of it. Was it like a jazz trio?
Yeah, it actually was it was three people doing jazz. How did you know? Yeah.
I just guessed. I mean, usually with jazz, it's like a trio. Or then,
you were 100% correct. We do have a little clip of the video we can show if we want to.
It usually goes from trio then up to like 19 people all together, and it's just all completely over the place.
And it was really nice entertainment. A couple times, some friends we met on the cruise. We would go hang out there. Yeah. It's open air. It's kind of out in the middle of the promenade. And really adorably themed, big bar there.
It's big. Yeah.
And we enjoyed that. We enjoyed that.
Yep. And there's one more bar in this area next to Hyperspace and closer to the Grand Hall, and that is Nightingale's. And this is a piano bar. So
that
if you're
was really nice.
And the drinks there, Rhino and I went, and I think we all went. at some point. The drinks there had better theming to me than the Hyperspace Lounge.
The drinks definitely were very creative here. They were all unique in different ways. Like some of the regular cocktails would be served with a big smoke bubble on top. Panda, you had one of the frozen ones that you used the little hammer to break open the ice with your drink. I drank out of the bird butt, and it was a nightingale. What's that, Elaine?
I want to drink out of the bird butt. I saw like somebody with that drink.
It's amazing what excites these people.
I will say, I heard that a lot of people were stealing the bird, which I will be honest, crossed my mind, but I would never do that on a freaking media cruise. So I did not, but so who knows how long the bird drink will actually last before they run out of glassware on that, if it's even still around. But Nightingales, I did get to listen to the piano player in there who did like a Disney Parks medley, and so that is your space for that more intimate, not just nighttime setting, but also if you're looking for that live music that's a little bit more mellow, Nightingales is your go-to spot for that. And very similar vibe is the Rose up on Deck 12, and that's the bar that you would hit before you get to Palo or Enchanté. And again, media cruises are hard to really predict because there's so many adults on.
I can tell you some of the comments being made by some of the friends we made on the maiden voyage about Enchanté was that everybody was really snooty. Or I'm sorry, the Rose. Enchanté was very snooty too, but Riley had been talking about how snooty they went to go hang out in there, and they're like everybody was so uptight and snooty that he didn't feel comfortable.
Wow. Okay.
He didn't feel comfortable, so they left and they went somewhere else.
I will say I showed up in not like a collared shirt or anything. It was like right before it closed, and I did feel out of place up there compared to how everyone else was dressed and the entire elegance of it. So I know we talked about like the changes to clothing policy on DCL before. I will say with the Rose, that's a place in particular. Check out the vibe before you just walk in dressed however you want, because I can definitely see where your friend would probably say that.
Yeah, you're going to want to dress
smart casual.
Smart casual.
Would you liken it to the Meridian on the Dream?
I think it's more uptight than the Meridian.
Okay.
I think the Meridian's more relaxed. I never walked in the Meridian and felt, God, I'm underdressed.
True.
But, it is what it is. Yeah. And again, I don't spend an enormous amount of time at bars, so I got to go with you guys.
Yeah. And I'm not going to talk about the bars on the different decks right near the Grand Hall. Those are there. They exist. The only other big one is Keg and Compass on Deck 5, and that is right outside of the upstairs balcony of Luna and near the movie theater area. And that one, I will say, that was the busiest on our cruise. It is your beer pub, and they are supposed to have exclusive beers in there that were still not available during the maiden voyage. So who knows when those will come, but a ton of beer, a lot of seating compared to the other pubs on the other ships. And the cool thing inside here is, even, if you're not interested in it, I'd still walk in and look at the theming. There's like a giant map on the top of the bar that kind of shows where different Disney characters or movies would happen on different locations. And then there was all these little like hidden Mickeys and there's like a hidden Dole Whip that they put in there and a hidden Mickey ice cream bar that they hid throughout it. So it's, for an elegant style pub, they influxed a lot of Disney touches into it. So I would recommend that. But moving away from the bars to the shows, you have Aladdin that was not ready in time for the maiden voyage. Disney Sees the Adventure, which is a fun, rollicking show where Goofy is given command of the ship and somehow ends up in all these different Disney and Pixar movies, including Finding Nemo, Princess and the Frog, and there's a lot of other Disney characters. So this is your very traditional Disney Cruise Line show that is character driven. And then there's also The Little Mermaid, which is a kind of jazz retake on the Little Mermaid story. And since I can't review the shows, I do actually want to hear Panda's thoughts. I know his Little Mermaid thoughts, which I feel vindicated because I have complained about Beauty and the Beast on the Dream and for a long time, despite Panda loving it. But now I think he feels about the Little Mermaid the same way I feel about Beauty and the Beast, but probably even more aggressive. So, Panda, what do you think of the shows?
So just to get back to, I love Beauty and the Beast, and I was expecting something of that caliber. I did love Seize the Adventure, which is like the variety show with the characters. But going back to what Pete said in the last show about the caliber of performers being Broadway, that Seize the Adventure, when the people sing like Tiana, it is the best singing I've ever heard on a Disney cruise. It's the best. It's one of the best singings I've heard, like the best singings I've heard. It was great. That was cool for a variety show. But then the Mermaid,
You singing good.
singing good. The Mermaid was just, there is something there that they might have been a community theater joke going on, that it was a community theater trying to put on a mermaid show. There might have been that story there that I didn't catch, because that's how it felt, and it was really bad. But it wasn't just, and again, the performances were great. They can sing, they can dance.
And what that tells me, if the performances were good, this is a direction problem.
100%.
This is a direction problem, not a performer problem.
Except for King Triton. His acting was questionable, and I'm thinking that's because he had really nice cut abs that maybe he couldn't act.
Hashtag thank God he's pretty.
Thank God he's pretty. But the fact that the mermaid is running across the stage with her feet in clear view, begging for feet, it was a leap I just wasn't willing to make. I wanted give me a story, give me a Disney tale.
And I didn't go and see it. You came back and told me.
I'm glad
this.
you didn't. You would have killed me.
On the maiden voyage, who's on the ship other than the Little Mermaid herself, Jodie Benson? And you have to wonder if she went and saw that. Now, she's as sweet as they get. She would never say anything. But you have to wonder if she saw that and went, oh, my God.
She just did a Facebook post with the cast saying how wonderful it was to see the show. I know if I spoke to her deep down in my heart, she'd say, what were they doing? What went on? I think the performers, again, I think they were talented, except for King Triton. But I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. And I've had it, if you look at the Patreon comments, a lot of people who saw it with us agree. And I was like, why is this? I was so disappointed. Can't wait to see what they do with Aladdin when it comes out.
Well, I believe you have at least more positive thoughts on some of the other entertainment, including the new Pirate Night fireworks, which have been revitalized from the other ships. It now features a full live band instead of just pre-recorded music. And on top of the band, there's also a show that includes, it's not Red, but it's, I believe, Red's granddaughter is what they spelled it out to be, just so they don't cross the lines, even though no one cares. Just call it Red. But it's like Red's granddaughter, and then also appearances by, of course, Jack Sparrow, because you have to throw in Jack Sparrow anytime you can. But there's that whole performance that happens before the fireworks, and then fireworks are unique on this ship because for the first time on Disney Cruise Line, they shoot them out from both forward and aft instead of just the one direction. So it's even more fireworks. But what are your thoughts on that, Panda?
Yeah, I did. I actually liked the show a lot. I'm sorry?
And Pete.
I liked
thank you.
the show a lot. And when he fell, it looked great. The different characters, the Barbossa, Red's granddaughter, whoever it is, they were all really good. And the two spots of fireworks do make a better firework production for a ship. You always say, oh, it's on a ship, so it's never going to be like, the Magic Kingdom. But coming from the two places and meeting in between and exploding was really nice. I liked it. I would go out of my way to see that show. You saw most of it from where you were.
Yeah, I thought the live band was phenomenal.
They were great.
I thought they did such an incredible job. And there was just great energy to the whole show. And I thought the fireworks were, they're fireworks off a cruise ship. It's not wishes. But I thought like you were saying, having multiple launch points kind of made it a little more exciting. Pirate Night's always fun. Pirate Night's always fun. A lot of complaints about the Pirate Night menu.
Now, did the menu change? Because I don't think it did.
No, it's the same menu. That was one of the complaints, is that it was the same menu they do on all the other ships, and that the food wasn't very good.
Okay, but you can't change the menu if it's a 3 or 4 night cruise and you have these highly themed Marvel and Arendelle restaurants. If you change the menu, somebody's not getting the actual theming.
That's why you do a 4-night cruise, because then I believe they develop that around, and Elaine can correct me if I'm wrong, but you will have Pirate Night during the restaurant that you have twice, so that way you don't miss out on any of the experiences. Right, Elaine?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
But they have not done that yet. They don't change the menu on a 4-night.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. No, this is what I'm saying, is that people...
Yes.
It's the same Pirate Night menu you get on the other ships.
Oh, okay.
And people were expecting something different.
Okay.
And they said that the food wasn't particularly good. Which, Pirate Night food... No one's booking a Disney cruise for Pirate Night food. And if you are...
But Pirate Night shouldn't be an excuse to give.
I have some extra medication you might want to borrow.
Pirate Night shouldn't be an excuse for subpar food.
That is the night that you go and check out Marceline Market if you haven't done that for dinner, or you book your Palo. But if you want to be a full pirate like Elaine does, it's probably not a good night for Palo. Or you check out room service. There's always room service available too. So you have options outside of the Pirate Night menu. But with Pirate Night, and I'll even say with the Sail Away Party, there is more room than ever on the Wish to watch the shows that happen on that top deck, because they have changed the layout of the pools completely. There is no longer a big giant pool in the middle. It is now structured in a very unique way, and that where the stage is that you watch all the stuff, there's a pool that can either be, hidden or out there, and that's the Mickey pool on deck 11. And then also on deck 11, you have 3 small pools on the opposite side, and those are the Minnie, Daisy, and Pluto pool. And then on deck 12, right above the 2 small pools and the Minnie pool, you then have another 2 small pools, and these are all like hot tub size, like large hot tubs.
Yeah.
And then there's one extra pool all the way at deck 14 forward that is being called the quiet pool. And that is there and available, but it is there. It's a very, very interesting way to lay it out rather than having one big pool where people are splashing around.
I don't know what they were thinking with that. I don't know what they were thinking. I also don't know why that quiet pool, quote unquote, isn't an adult-only area. Because that's like where Satellite Falls would be on the Dream and the Fantasy, which is part of the adults-only area. I don't know why.
Yeah, I did see one person said that they loved the fact that they had the pool all the way forward, because for, kids who are sensitive to, overly loud environments and such, that's a nice place that they can still
that's a good
enjoy it. But on the flip side, then, for the adults, we've talked about Cove Cafe, how hard that is to find and where it's back. That's also where the Quiet Cove section is for adults. And of course, that's all the way in, that is deck 13 aft. Or
New Jersey.
It's not very quiet either.
You said it, not me. And it's that's basically the infinity pool that's over the back of the ship. And every time I saw it, it looked like there was no open spaces for
Tourist
people to get
soup.
into. Yeah,
Tourist.
It's not quiet
soup.
at all.
People packed in those pools and those hot tubs, just packed. And again, the 2 cruises that I did, the christening cruise, which I was a guest, and the maiden voyage, were adult heavy. There weren't a lot of kids. So I don't know what it's going to look like on normal cruises where you have a normal demographic on the ship. So it may be different. But on those 2 cruises, it was I mean, just slammed.
I will say on podcast cruise, the quiet pool for adults was packed pretty regularly, and not just with people from our group. So if it's an adult heavy cruise, I think they're always going to be busy, and it's going to be that tourist soup. And if you get lucky and you're in one that's not adult heavy, maybe it'll be more quiet and more relaxing. But it really just depends on that. But that's the pool structure. There's one kids play area, the Toy Story Splash Zone. That's all the way on deck 12 forward. And there's a slide there too called the Slidosaurus Rex. And so that's going to be a popular spot for kids to hang out with. Of course, the Aquamouse, the aqua coaster that is the version of the Aqueduct, but this is supposed to be more of an attraction with screens as you go up the little lift before the slide starts. I feel like you can't really call it a water coaster because it's more like a traditional roller coaster where you do go up a lift and then back down, and you go up once more but then back down. It's not like the Aqueduct at all. And, you know, I would say manage your expectations with the Aquamouse. It's
pretty
very
much
different.
The reviews I heard of that were, manage your expectations.
Yeah, Disney's PR did a very good job of selling something that I don't think quite translated the way they expected it to. But that's the entire pool area, so we'll rapid fire through the rest of this real quick. Uncharted Adventures is the game that you'll be able to play ship-wide, the replacement for the Midship Detective Agency. None of us can talk about it because they were doing previews of it for some media during our preview cruise, but it is still not ready yet. And hopefully it'll be ready soon, but that's all we can say about that, really. And then the theaters, they changed up how those are happening. It's no longer one big theater. And I'm not talking about the Walt Disney Theater,
the movie theater.
Yeah, it is now two separate theaters, the Neverland and Wonderland Cinema, and those are on deck 4. And
Which makes absolutely no... Again, when I talk about the layout of the ship, why do you have two smaller theaters?
On deck 4.
On deck 4.
The only thing I could think of is that they want to be able to show two different movies at the same time, hoping they can split audiences. But I know on our preview cruise, again, it wasn't a normal cruise, but they were only using like one theater at a time while the other sat
I'm pretty
vacant.
sure that's what that was going on the Maiden too.
It's an interesting choice. And I believe both of those theaters only hold like 75 versus the other movie theaters holding like maybe like around 400.
Yep.
I might be overstating that. It might be closer to 3, but it's a choice. It is a choice for sure. And I feel like when we were always looking for the theaters, we could never find them. But then when we weren't looking for them, all of a sudden we were there. So that was always very neat. And the last big entertainment activity thing to mention is the Hero Zone. That is on deck 12. And this is the indoor activity center where kids can play basketball as long as the Incredibles obstacle course isn't blown up during the day, which looked to be a lot of fun. I didn't get a chance to do it. I only saw it and then it deflated and went away. But there's also like ping pong and air hockey and like the table shuffleboard that's up above. But that's it. You know, I think Disney tries to avoid bad weather, but it's not always possible. But I thought that was an interesting choice to say, let's take it inside so that way kids can play regardless.
Something I forgot to mention on our overview of the ship was during bad weather, a lot of times to get to some places, you got to walk outside.
Oh, yeah.
And like going to the adults only area. If you're going to the Cove Cafe, you're getting wet. You're getting wet. There's no way to get there without being on open deck.
Yeah. The closest you could get there is you technically can go to the second level of the Hero Zone, walk around, go through a door that says cast members only on the inside. But if you go in that door from the outside, it doesn't say cast members only. crew members. But you could technically cut it off. But even from there, you still have about a 30-yard walk to the entrance of Cove from there. It's all outside.
It's all outside.
Yeah.
So, because we ran into that. We ran into... Because we did run into some bad weather on the Maiden. And, yeah, we got wet.
Yeah, but that's the general overview. Only thing we didn't mention was Luna, but as you said in the overview, you didn't see anything happening there or Triton besides...
Bingo, I think bingo happened in Luna.
Okay.
And I heard it was standing room only. They didn't have enough room for all the people that wanted to
They
play.
also didn't have enough cards for people to play bingo.
Well, I'm glad I just mentioned it then, because
Yes.
that's a pretty big detail.
And Craig, what are we calling the light
Wait,
chandelier?
so-
I'm sorry, Elaine.
Normally, on pre-COVID cruises, they would run out of room anyways for bingo. Like, you had to get there like an hour early just to get in line, and then they would open the door and they would let everybody in, but it would always get to the point of standing room only and sell out. So that's normal for
Okay.
pre-COVID
But
bingo. Anyways.
I will say, while that could be normal for something like Evolution, that's a much larger area that's all one level, it would be a lot harder with Luna where it's 2 levels and there are doors separating you from being inside of it and outside of it. It's not like you could just easily stand in there. It was packed with chairs and tables. Yeah. So
Craig, the chandelier
Sorry.
thing, just to cover entertainment completely, what are we calling that LED light thing that happens?
they had the Kiss Goodnight at
Okay.
midnight. I can't remember what the other one was called, but it was basically at 7
The slap,
o'clock.
good morning.
I like that. At 7 p.m., they did like a little light show where the chandelier in the grand hall came to life, and you heard Cinderella music. You heard "So This Is Love," I want to say it was, and then, or maybe that one was "Bippity Boppity Boo." I genuinely, it's been so long now since the christening that I've forgotten all these details. Should have prepared for. And then at like 10 o'clock and midnight, they have the Kiss Goodnight one, and that is just like the wrap up where you hear the clock chiming to 12, and that's saying it's the end of the night. Was very, very weird. A lot of people made a big deal about it, and it's more one of those things where I think if you happen to see it, then it's more one of those activities, not a stake out a spot for an hour. Question though, was there a see you real soon party at all on that last night?
I checked and I did not see it unless it happened during the day and I missed it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
There was, if you remember, Lady Llewellyn from the Magic Kingdom, that type of a character was doing stuff in the main atrium stage, and I always caught it like it was only like a 2-minute thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she was on the balcony, sometimes she was on the bottom. I did expect more characters even during the maiden voyage. On the Dream, and again, it was a Star Wars cruise, so maybe that's why I saw so many characters, but I expected more characters that were not on the maiden voyage. To fill up the ship and make it feel alive.
Yeah. I didn't know because they didn't do it for us, and I mean that's a highlight of the other ships for most people is the see you real soon, where Mickey and all the characters and princesses come out one last time, wave at you, take photos for a couple minutes, and then that's when your cruise ends theoretically. So
I'll
interesting.
check. It could have been that I missed it, but I know nothing happened that night from what I remember. I checked.
Okay. So there you have it. That's our look at some of the entertainment on board the Disney Wish. We're going to be doing a whole series of these talking about the food and other aspects of the ship, so stay tuned for that in the weeks coming up. So that's going to do it for this episode of the DCL show. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next week.